work.
So one of the things that I alluded to before was that we wanted to do a Stump the Ministers this Sunday so that we could really address some of the fears and some of the questions that y'all may have. So we've been getting questions all week, and we printed some of them out. We have them, and you want to start by reading the question?
Sure. We'll start with this
If
one
I
here.
don't know the answer, then I'll just I'll give
You'll
it
just
to
be
you.
quiet?
Yeah, I'll just
Okay.
be quiet, and then if you don't know the answer, we'll just all look at Lorne.
Lorne, all right. Lorne, you're the third. You're the backup.
All right, here we go.
All right. First question. We create our own reality. Help us see how this operates with respect to the coronavirus spread.
Great question.
Yeah.
Not sure who sent that in, but thank you so much. Well, first of all, viruses are real, and viruses are doing what they do to survive. So one of the things that we have to keep in mind is, if your house was on fire. I saw this on Facebook the other day from one of our ministers in, I think, Seattle. If your house is on fire, do you sit there and watch it burn, or do you call the fire department? So this is the reality that we're living in right now, that viruses are real. And I think that what's more important than anything is how we respond to what's happening in our world. We read a lot, we're hearing a lot about individuals who are buying up all kinds of things and hoarding things out of fear. And so I think it's really important that all of us respond from a place of love instead of fear. What do you think?
Yeah.
Is that a good? That's a good.
That's
answer.
a good answer. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be stumped today.
Oh,
I don't think so.
good.
Yeah, and I will add to that, this idea of we create our own realities, because what I hear sometimes in this kind of science of mind philosophy is that people can think, I've heard it called like new thought guilt, like what did you do to create that? So if someone were to get the virus, like you created that in your mind. And so that's what we want to avoid. We know that love is the truth of who we are. And so how I think of that is that we are creating our own reality, but it affects, there's a collective, so in the collective consciousness of the world, this virus was created. We don't know why, but it's not that individually, if someone were to, we all experience dis-ease and different things in our life. And it's not that we are consciously creating those. Everything that's occurring in the world of form is an outpicturing of consciousness, but it's a collective consciousness as well. So that's why our work is to focus on the truth of wholeness, of the love that we are, to raise the vibration on the planet. And so I believe when stuff like this comes up, it's always also an opportunity to heal. Do you want to add to anything what I just said? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, next question. How can we best hold a light of love in the face of mass fear? And then the follow-up is, what steps can we take on our own personal evolution to help in global transformation? What a perfect follow-up question.
It's a perfect follow-up question because I think it all comes down to spiritual practices. How can we take our personal evolution? Okay, reaching out, also reaching out to your friends and your neighbors, reaching out from a place of how can I support you? We all have elderly people living in our neighborhoods, to check on them, doing our spiritual practices every morning. That's why we created Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. our open invitation to anybody for 30 minutes to be involved together in a spiritual practice so that we can really, like Rainbow said earlier, raise the vibration of the planet, because we are all in this together. And I think also limiting your exposure, doing all the things that we are being told, which is washing our hands. And although we're not 6 feet apart, trying to really stay focused on the reality of what's going on in the world, but at the same time doing our spiritual practices. The other thing I was thinking about is I think it's really, really important that we try to limit ourselves to negative news. And what I mean by that is I don't mean to, stick your head in the sand. I certainly don't mean that. But what I do mean is to, first of all, use reliable sources, and trust that, there are reliable sources out there, and that science is science. Like I said, viruses are real, and viruses are doing what they do to survive. So really, what I've started to do is not, I could get obsessive with this and check Facebook and, all the news outlets and everything. But what happens is it takes away from the spiritual practice that I just did. And so I want to stay with that. I want to stay in the power of love. I want to stay in the power of, the spiritual practice that I just completed, while at the same time living in reality. So I've decided that I cannot, I've really limited myself to this social engagement, not only in person, but as on Facebook and the news and all that. So I think that that's important for people to understand that, boy, we're just getting bombarded with all kinds of information, and we really want to be able to trust what we're hearing. So it's important to go to reliable news outlets. Yes?
Yeah, totally. I know it's like I used to be able to go to Facebook as a sense of connection and kind of, seeing cute cat memes and what my friends' kids are doing. And now I go on and it's everything. The whole news feed is about this virus. And so I'm noticing that I'm actually reading more. Hey. Yeah, look at that. Finding other things to do. Yesterday, Heather really encouraged me to go outside and go for a walk because just get some fresh air, move. I chose to stay inside and dance, but that works too. So finding those ways, that balance between staying informed, but I know for me, I can tell, or others around me can tell and remind me when I'm starting to get a little too sucked into that energy, and how I can raise my vibration through spiritual practice and take action. The action, like you said, of checking up on people and connecting with people. Yeah.
Great. I'll read the next one.
All right.
I like this one. What is the greatest power of the mind? Is it imagination, logic, memory, or belief? You want to tackle that one?
Do we have to choose one?
No.
Okay.
And that was going to be my answer.
Well, it's like, I think, so I just kind of break them down, right? So what is the greatest power of the mind? So imagination. I mean, imagination is a powerful tool because it's how we are able to really create and visualize and expand our awareness to then what we are vibrating and attracting. So I think imagination is extremely powerful, but really any one of these without the other, if you had imagination, without a firm belief, you would just be daydreaming in a while. So, and then logic, like you just said on the last one, logic is important to know reliable sources and what are, facts in this world of reality that we live in, as well as our memory. I think memories are really the things that kind of create that sense of who we are, as well as maybe there's an attachment in a way to memories to our emotion that really makes us feel alive and human. I don't know.
Well, and I think that memory is where it's almost like a sister to our stories that we tell ourselves. So one of the things that we can do is know that we are not bound by the past, but we can use the past to create a new future, or we can use our memories to help us create a world in which we really want to live, or create a life that we really want to have for ourselves. So I think that's kind of where memory comes in. And I also think that belief is great, but we also have to get in there through our spiritual practices and delve into some of those hidden beliefs
Oh yeah.
that come from our memory.
Right.
And use our logic to create a space of imagination.
Beautiful.
Yeah. What do you
So can we say all of them?
All of
All
them.
of them.
All of
That's
them.
our answer.
All of them.
All of them.
Right.
What is the purpose of human suffering?
That's a great question. There is no purpose. Well, let me put it to you this way. Suffering is a mental state. Okay. So as humans, we're going to have dis-ease. We're going to experience a dis-ease. We're going to experience pain. And I'm going to go back to what I said before. It's how we respond to what is happening in our lives that is important. Suffering is what we do to ourselves to deny that reality is happening. Do you need me to say that
Say
again?
that. Yeah. Say that again.
So suffering is a way, or is how we don't accept what is happening in our lives, the
Got it.
reality of what is happening.
Got it.
Remember, suffering is a mental state. So it's important. What is important is how we respond to what is happening in our lives, right?
I got that. Just came to life for me. Around like resistance. So it's like, so suffering.
Yes.
So like the other day, I was really resisting some strong emotions coming up, specifically anger. And so then I was suffering because my body was literally tense and I just kind of had this kind of energy like this, but I was resisting that anger because my mind was telling me that's bad or wrong or nothing's really happening, or it's kind of a mix of fear and anger, and who could say what triggered it, but something, and then I'm in resistance. So then I'm suffering. But then when I allow myself to actually let it move through me, again, by just simply breathing and moving my body, because it wasn't anything. I tried meditating first, and that wasn't working in that moment because I was just ruminating, right? And my body was just like vibrating. So when I let myself breathe and move and express that anger, and then it's amazing. I was like, I was no longer suffering.
Is that when you decided to dance?
It is.
I thought so.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, feel the feelings, lean into them. One of my all-time favorite practitioners used to say, lean into the pain and then use it. So, yeah, great. Here's some more questions up here. Why is it called spiritual mind treatment?
Spiritual mind treatment. Okay, so spiritual mind treatment is what we call affirmative prayer, for those who don't know what spiritual mind treatment is. And Ernest Holmes created this kind of formula of prayer and spiritual mind treatment. So I think, for me, it's a treatment, like it's a protocol. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like there's these steps and you're treating your mind. So it's spiritual because the essence of it is connecting with the oneness and allowing something greater to emerge through you. And it's done in your mind, and you're treating your mind to know and remember the truth. Yeah, I don't know if I'd break that down. It's a mind treatment.
Actually, when I go to the doctor, I'm going for treatment. Right? I mean, so I think that Dr. Holmes really was talking about we are our own patients, so we have to continually treat our minds with spiritual ideas in order to manifest a life desired, right?
Yeah. I like it. I know some people can have resistance to it because it's like, what's a mind treatment? Is it like something happening, like suction on my brain or something?
Wow.
I don't know. Lorne, what do you think? Spiritual mind treatment.
Sounds like a medical term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it probably has the same effect, but it's inside as opposed to outside.
Yeah.
See? Wise.
We have wise ones.
We have wise ones
in our midst.
So here's a great question. And I'm going to answer this. What does God have to do with all of this? That's a great question. I was at a seminar many, many, many years ago, and I won't even tell you who the speaker was. But someone stood up in the audience and asked the question, if God is love, if God is fully present in everyone, then why do we have wars, and why do we have suffering, and why do children die, and why do we have hunger, and children die from hunger, people die from hunger, and all of this? Why did God create all this? And I love the speaker's answer. It's not God's responsibility, it's ours. And
Yep.
so we're the ones that are involved in this. You know, I really believe God has nothing to do with this, regardless of some of the newscasters who are blaming other people. We're the ones who are responsible for taking care of the people who are in need, people who are hungry, children who are hungry. We're the creators of war, and we're also the creators of peace. I never understood why we have a War Department and not a peace department.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, really?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
So thank you, whoever wrote that question. Thank you very much. Yes, it's our responsibilities, and that's, you know, coming together as human beings and creating a world which works for everyone is the greatest desire I think that we can have.
Yeah. It's up to us.
It's up to
Humans.
us. Up to us.
Humans. Should we check to see if there's any questions coming in online? We have a couple more here, but if you have a burning question online right now, we might not be able to get to all of them. But know that you can put that in the chat too, and we'll take a couple of live questions. Otherwise, we'll just kind of keep going with the ones that were submitted before. And if you do, Heather or Louise, just wave, get our attention, and we'll take one of your questions online.
Here's a great one. If I keep my consciousness clean, what does that mean?
Clean.
Clean. Will I avoid getting the virus? Will I avoid getting sick? So what do you think?
Well, I think that if we were to spray Lysol all around us, no, just kidding. If we keep our consciousness clean. So again, I think this is looking at it in a way of almost taking I don't know. Blaming. Yeah, I was like blaming versus responsibility. You know, so when we say we have to be responsible, it's more like our ability to respond to what is occurring, and not blaming ourselves. So it just comes back to me to like grace, to love, to keep your vibration with that of love and care for others. And what happens in this human world of form happens, but how do we respond and how do we show up? So
yeah, I think too, what is really important here is to consider the question, if I get the virus, am I going to blame myself?
Yeah.
That's the important question. I know if I get the virus, I'm not going to blame me, you know.
She's going to blame me.
I'm going to blame her.
We're within 3 feet.
You took it right out of my, yeah, I'm going to blame her. Because she's standing too close to me. Did you notice that? Really, let's not punish each other or ourselves when we get sick or diseased. Let's not do that to each other. There's no reason. Let's love each other instead. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Spiritual Lysol.
Spiritual Lysol.
Yeah, it's love.
I love it.
Love is a spiritual Lysol.
Oh man,
I'm going to bottle that and sell it online.
You are?
Yeah.
Are you going to overprice
I'm going to, for $50 a bottle, you can get some spiritual Lysol. It's called Love, and I've infused it with prayer.
There you
Coming
go.
soon.
All right. Well, they do have holy water.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry about that. Okay. So here's a question. How can I support Ahava during this time? Oh, great question.
I would say 1, continue to show up to our offerings online, participate, pray for our community, pray for yourself and each other, and continue to give financially. So even though there's not as many opportunities to serve the community in person, showing up and giving financially, because we're still here. We still have our regular expenses, and we want to still be an active part of your life during this time.
Right. And many musicians are losing their gigs right now. Things are happening. Shows are being canceled. We would like to keep our musicians working. We would like to have a full band here every Sunday morning. So your tithes, your donations, your contributions, all of that helps us to keep the individuals that you love so much on Sunday morning. It helps to keep them working, as well as us being able to host this time together. Even though we're not here physically, we still have this time that we can host together, and we want to continue to do that. So your prayers, your contributions, your tithes, your offerings, all of it is super, super, super important. And also to share our video. Share it with as many people as you know, so that they can also be comforted by some of the questions and answers that we're having today, because that's really important. That's one way you can support your neighbors who are in fear. So share our video. We've also got here, how can I get support from a practitioner without seeing them in person?
Oh, that's a good one.
Isn't that a great question?
Yeah. So what's great is, one thing, you can go on our website and submit a prayer request. And that was mentioned earlier. You can receive an email with a prayer. But if you would like to see a practitioner one-on-one, there are practitioners that are doing sessions online via Zoom as well. So we can still support you through Zoom and phone calls. Yes. So I believe the best way still is going to the website and submitting that, or sending us an email if you want to get connected with a practitioner, and we can set up phone appointments, prayer over the phone, emails.
Yeah, if you just want to call a practitioner, well, you can email. I think all of their emails are online, not their phone numbers. But you can email that practitioner and say, can I just have prayer for 5 minutes on the phone? Because I know all of our practitioners are really available and have made themselves available for everybody. So if you want an hour-long session, Zoom is a great way to do it, because it's very simple. You just download the Zoom app, and you can be face-to-face, and really it's wonderful. So I encourage everybody to do that. It's a great way to connect.
Definitely.
Any questions?
Anything online?
No? Okay.
Nothing.
Heather, do you have a question? Okay. We're just doing so well, right? So let's see here. Oh, how do I keep myself from freaking out during these scary times?
Dance.
Yeah.
That's my answer. Breathe, dance. Think of other ways. I saw someone on Facebook or something talk about, we can use this time, as many people are kind of self-quarantining or just, home more, to actually connect with people, perhaps friends that have moved away, or people that we in our busy life don't always think of. So I think, not freaking out is staying connected, not totally isolating, even though you may be physically isolating. So reaching out, getting prayer, calling an old friend, writing a letter, reading a book, dancing, singing,
board games. Yeah. We, Louise and I, actually had a Zoom call for a couple hours with our best friends in California. It was so great because we were able to see them, they're seeing us, and we're all expressing, sometimes it's just really good to have someone that you trust who's not going to try to fix you, and just say, I'm just really scared about this, because there's something, and I don't know what it is. It's something within our human nature that when we find out we're not the only ones that are scared, there's power in that. So I keep saying, and I'll continue to say, that we're not in this alone. We're all in this together.
Yep.
So reach out for sure and speak that truth about, I'll tell you, my truth is I really can't dance.
No way. You can dance. All right. You just go back to those drums. At least you got rhythm some way.
Yeah,
right?
Somewhere.
Somewhere.
Okay, so let's see. What do we have? Nope, we got.
I think we got all
one
those.
last question.
Oh, here we go. Okay. So there's a lot of reference to Jesus by Ernest Holmes in the Science of Mind textbook. Is Ahava a Christian community?
You're going to let me answer.
Yeah.
We're not a Christian community. We're not a Jewish community. We're not, we don't practice Islam. We are not Krishna. We're not Buddhist. We're not anything except love.
What are we?
And yet we're all those things, because we encourage you to practice what you practice. Our community is set up, and that's why we don't call it a church.
Mm-hmm.
We call it a spiritual center, so that no matter who you are or where you are on your path of discovery, whether you're an atheist, agnostic, whatever, it's all about coming together and really doing something wonderful in the world and supporting each other. So that community is important. When community gets together, and whether we call it God or whether we call it Jesus or Moses or Muhammad or whatever you want to call it, we encourage you to really take this philosophy back to your study and use it to enhance what. Oh, we have a question. Hang on one second. To use this philosophy to really support and enhance your belief wherever you are spiritually. So no, we're not, and yes, we are. How does that sound?
Yeah, and I think I'll just add, because I do notice a lot of kind of more Christian-based language in some of Ernest Holmes' writings, but I think it was just a product of the time.
Of the times,
and
yes.
Like even in the textbook, it still references God as He, but we don't believe that God is a He. And again, that was the product of the time and how he was writing to the audience of that time. But definitely things have evolved in this teaching, and we are open at the top, and we are open to any and all.
Yes. So we have a question. What is the question?
Shout it out, and we'll repeat it. Okay, I'll repeat that. So with the talk of the divine feminine, because that's the theme of this month of March, do you believe that this virus is a way or product of shifting from the more masculine structure of society to the more feminine in connectedness? Lorne? No.
I think the question of purpose is in the eye of the beholder. It's the purpose that you choose to give to the situation.
There you go.
Look at this. We need to let Lorne talk more. Right? He can do more than just sing and play.
So first of all, that sounds like well, here's what I know, and you can interpret this the way you want. I agree with Lorne for sure. But I also know that the world has to shift, and it's always shifting. Change is the only thing that is constant in the world. So we have this balance that has to happen. And what's going on in the world right now, in my opinion, is that there's a lot of woundedness and a lot of Band-Aids. And so what's happening right now is that the Band-Aid has been ripped off. And so the world is coming together. Again, it goes back to response. If you want to blame somebody for what's happening, you're going to blame somebody. If you want to make a reason, you see, because we try to reason everything. Mm-hmm. How often do you say, oh, there's a reason for that? Or this is happening for a reason, right? Well, I think that's part of our human nature, is that we want to find answers and we want to reason everything. Mm-hmm. So my invitation is that we continue to do our spiritual practices and know that everything is unfolding exactly the way it's supposed to in divine order, because there's nothing but the divine. And whether that's the divine feminine, the divine masculine, or simply the divine, because we're the ones that just labeled that.
Yep.
You see, because that labeling things is how we think we understand. But every time we label something, we are giving it a story. We're giving it a definition. We're giving it a purpose. So I invite you to stay open at the top and really, I keep going back to response and how you're responding to all of this, and how your spiritual practices are working in your life.
Beautiful. Well,
Thank
shall
you,
we?
Lauren.
Yeah. Shall we move into some practice now and move into prayer?
If there are no other questions, absolutely. So I invite you all to pray with us or stay with us as we move into this time of prayer, and we'll do this together, eh, Rainbow?
Let's do it. You're going to start?
I'll start.
All right.
I love to start. I love to be the first. So I'm going to know in this time and in this place that there's only one source of all. And I know this source has many names. I know it as love. I know it as God. I know it as Buddha and Jesus and Krishna and Muhammad and Shakti and whatever it may be. But what I know about this power and this presence is that it creates out of itself every minute, every second of every day, only what is like itself. And so, knowing that truth, I know that what is like itself is me, is every living creature on this planet. I know that this source is changeless, yet ever changing and moving and having its way. I know this power and presence as order. I know it as peace. I know it as joy and abundance and prosperity. I know it as love, 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 love. I know it as power. And I know this source that I speak of, this absolute, as the infinite eternal life eternal, as myself. And I know that as I speak this word of myself, I'm speaking this word for the community of Ahava, and I'm speaking this word for anyone who is in need of prayer today. I'm speaking this word knowing that it is from the altar of truth that I lay down my burden, that I lay down my fear, that I lay down my trepidation, my concern in this moment, because I may pick it up later, but in this moment I am laying it down, all my burdens on the altar of truth. And it's from that altar of truth that I speak this word for this community, knowing that as God is power, as God is order, it is the same order that ordered up the moon and the stars and the planets. It is that same universal connectedness that is the truth of me and this community and all those in need of prayer today. I know that the power and the oneness and the joy and the peace that is God is available right now, and I claim it for each and every one. I know simply that the peace that I am seeking through these trying times is seeking me, and that God is right where I am. God is right where we all are. I know that through the fear of lack or limitation, that I can release that fear now. I can let go of it and stand in the power of love, and stand in the power of peace, stand in the power of freedom from any fear that there is not enough for myself or this community. I can stand knowing that love is indeed the answer as I pass my prayer to Reverend Rainbow.
And I take a deep breath of acceptance as I add my word to this prayer, knowing that peace is here now. And then I can lean into this awareness that truly all is well. That freedom is here now. As I lift my awareness to see and to know infinite possibility, to allow myself the grace and the ease of simply knowing that God in, as, and through me has got this. That love has got this, because love is all that there is. Love is what is real, and love is here now. Love is who I am. So I show up as love, always listening to that divine guidance of what is mine to do, and to be able to respond as this loving presence, leaning into and listening to that infinite wisdom, claiming and knowing peace, love, freedom right here, right now. Despite any conditions in the world of form, I show up as love, letting love lead the way. So I'm so grateful to know this truth, so grateful for the words that have been spoken this day, the clarity that has been received, and the awareness that has been expanded. As I release this word into the action of the law that always says yes, 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 yes. And so it is.